Hello, good evening and welcome back to TTTV. This is TTL F2 here on a Tuesday night and we bring you to the 9th round of the 4th season here at the Japanese Grand Prix. My name is Kieran McGinley and joining me in the commentary box is James Head. James, how are you tonight?
I'm doing very well myself. How are you doing, Kieran?
I'm not too bad. I mean, last time out, if you missed it at Singapore, we have crowned a champion. Give it time, give it time. Okay, that's plenty of time to click off the video. Yes, Siege is our confirmed champion. We had to do a lot of maths on the spot, but Siege has enough points now that he cannot be caught regardless of fastest lap times. Remember, in this league, we still follow the F1 point scoring stance. So it's 25 points for the winner. Fastest lap is 1 point, nothing for pole position. So that means Siege cannot be caught, and therefore he is the Season 4 champion here in TTL F2. Three races to go, James. We have, of course, Japan. We have USA, I believe it is, and then, of course, the season finale. I believe that's how it goes, or is it USA?
Yep.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
No, you're right.
I mean, I'm looking forward to the last three races. I'm going to be honest with you. I wonder how you're finding it, James. Season's already coming to a close. It's flown by.
It has absolutely flown by. It feels like just a couple of weeks ago that I was making my debut here in TTL F2. But yeah, time flies when you're having fun. And I think with Siege wrapping up the championship, there is still questions to be answered though. Can Honey, every race that he has started, he has won. 3 wins this season, tied with Siege with 3 wins as well. Can he now put down a claim ready for next season to see how he gets on? I think he is probably going to be the ones to watch once again tonight, like I said last week, I do believe. And looking also at the championship standings, Siege obviously 80 points clear, can't be caught. But it could be quite interesting for third. Sean, Afri, Navy, Maze, Lyronix. I make that... what, 11 points separating 5 drivers for third at the minute, and then if you want to be really picky, 20 points separating third down to 10th. It's really quite something. It's going to be very interesting how it all pans out.
Yeah, not just the drivers in the best of the rest category, but also in the team standings. After 8 rounds, Carlin are on 158, Campos on 150. 8 points between those two teams. That should be one that goes to the wire, Jones.
It is going to be fantastic between Carlin and Campos, of course. Both teams are represented by 2 drivers here tonight, I do believe. Oh no, Carlin aren't at the minute. Siege is obviously here. Campos still represented by Sean and Honey. I think Sean will be hoping Honey gets a good result here, and then Sean can pick up some decent amount of points as well. It's going to be very interesting to see how that unfolds over the last 3 rounds.
Interesting, I think, is an understatement, James. We should be looking forward to seeing what the Campos and the Carlin guys can do tonight. Of course, Siege in that Carlin car, champion of the season. So will he be taking it a little bit easier tonight, James, or will he still be his usual self going for that race win?
He has to be his usual self if he wants to try and make a point. I think because he is crowned champion, a champion has got to try and pull out all the stops and win as many races as possible and to score a very good, decent amount of points. You want to be putting it on record that the champion will be here to stay next season. Any newcomers that we get next season could just dethrone him, and if he gets some poor results, then that could throw a bit of an advantage to the rest of the field. But I think with Siege, he is going to be one of those drivers that... well, he has won the championship, but he shouldn't take it easy. He shouldn't take things for granted because anything can happen in Formula 2.
Ah, you're trying to make a new catchphrase. I like it. Well, here's the thing. We have that team battle to go for. The other Carlin car is George Roberts, who I'm not sure if he's here tonight just yet. I haven't actually scrolled down. Can't see him just yet, but we haven't got a second Carlin car. We do have someone in the Russian time car, though. We have Toad in the car, filling in for, I believe, it was Hustwick. He's filling in for this time around. So it'll be interesting to see how he gets on his debut.
Yeah, of course, I know Toad very, very well. I've commentated on him plenty of times within a former league that I used to commentate on, FRL. Very good, clean driver. Should put on record that I think this might be his first time driving the F2 cars. But as a first time around thing, I think he's going to get on just well here in TTL F2. I think it's going to be good performance. And of course, there is a spare seat as well, so he could be taking that full-time seat in Russian time if he impresses tonight.
Well, he could be indeed. The two Campos drivers, Honey Badger and Sean, they've both had pretty good seasons, equal running really between the two of them to get this Campos car where it is in the team championship. Two solid drivers compared to Carlin, who have been really leading with their first driver, and it's a strategy that's sort of been similar in effect. In fact, it's helped Siege win the championship itself. Who do you think is going to come out on top, Carlin or Campos, with 3 races to go?
Purely on looking at the point scoring that I've got, 158 for Carlin, 150 for Campos. I have got to lean more towards the Campos guys because Sean and Honey, more importantly, have been turning up every single week pretty much to race, score good amount of points. The momentum is with them. Carlin only down to 1 driver tonight is going to be a bit of an issue, especially if Campos outscores Siege, who's the only Carlin car here. I think the momentum is with Campos. They're going to win it.
Well, let's have a look at some of the last results from Campos. Of course, Honey is on 2 wins on the trot, having won in Belgium and in Singapore. Sean didn't start the last race, but his last races go as this. Round 7, he finished 6th. Round 6, he finished 5th. Round 5, he finished 7th. Round 4 he finished 4th, and his only podium of the season has come at the Spanish Grand Prix all the way back in round number 3. So it's been pretty consistent in the points whenever he's turned up. Only 1 DNF this season, that was at round 2 for China. We have a look at Honey's season. He started and made his signing for Canada, although didn't turn up to the race. He then won in Austria, wasn't attending the German Grand Prix, then won at Belgium and Singapore. So 3 wins out of 5 that he's been in the league. So it's going to be pretty interesting as we head towards the final rounds of the season. As you say, Campos really do have that momentum with Honey having 2 wins on the trot. Siege already wrapped up the championship. He'll be maybe thinking, what can I do? Can I try a different strategy? Can I try something that maybe others won't try? Just have a little bit of fun? Or really keep that consistent professional job here? We're riding on board now with Navy as he makes his way towards the start-finish line and on the way down towards turn 1. Now, it's a very short run compared to other tracks on the Canada, all the way downhill. It's quite a rare one to have turn 1 as the downhill section, then through turn 2. Watch the exit here. The back end can really step out on you as we head now through the S section of turn 4 and then through 5 here. And with less downforce in these cars through turn 6, it's very easy to commit too much through the corners with this right-hander here, which does camber away. Then you're climbing up the hill and to the left. Very easy to run wide onto the right-hand side, catch that curve and spin the car around. We saw that in TTL F1 on Thursday. Now making our way to the Degner curves there, committing and fully attacking that first Degner. And then the second Degner cambers towards the corner, so you can carry a little bit more speed. Up the hill now, in towards the hairpin now. We've seen Formula 1 drivers over the years go right up the inside here, cambers towards the apex, so you can carry that little bit more speed. Carrying the speed now through the exit, going up through the gears as we head now through turn 12. This long right-hander, full throttle all the way through as we head now towards turns 13 and 14, more commonly known as the spoon corner. Watch out for these curves there, especially on the entrance into turn 13. Can really catch you out if you've not got the car set up right now. Down the hill and then over the crest towards that legendary corner, 130R. Flat out through here in a Formula 1 car. Let's see how Navy handles it. Again, flat out, even with that reduced downforce, he's still able to take it flat out there as we head now towards the final braking zone of the track, the Casio Triangle. Trying to weave your way through here, down the hill, then watch out for the bump on the exit of the corner as he makes his way down the hill and towards the start-finish line. It's Honey Badger who's taken provisional pole position, 140.7. Navy, we were riding on board with 141.5. That is a great lap from Honey Badger, and it's a sure standing for Campos here as they look to try and make a statement with Honey Badger on pole position. So then let's have a look at the qualifying results then. Honey Badger on pole position by 7/10 of a second there ahead of Navy in the MP Motorsport car. It's Lyronics in 3rd, Sean in 4th, Toadweed in 5th with Old Man Barry in 6th, Crazy in 7th with Alan K 8th, Maze in 9th and Yuzi rounding out the top 10. It's Casper in 11th, Graham 12th, Maximus there in 13th with the last valid time. Siege, Frisch and Henny did not set lap times. In fact, Frisch and Henny their lap times were invalidated, and Siege retired at the end of halfway through the qualifying lap. Obviously not happy with it. He'll be starting from 14th place, the champion of Season 4, starting all the way down there. So it's going to be a challenge for him, especially for Carlin as well. That's not the result they wanted. They're going to need to get all the points they can on the board to help them in that battle with Campos. But we now make our way towards the grid. And James, I'm not liking the looks of those clouds 30 laps ahead of us. Those clouds do hold a little bit of something, surely.
There could be a little bit of rain due, I think. Those clouds are looking quite overcast. It is, however, dry out on track. I'm just ignoring the bouncing cars on the right-hand side of my screen as well. Look like we're having bloody Gangnam style on the grid there.
That's something I didn't think I'd hear for a long time. I thought that was long gone, but well, apparently the suspension's doing wonders here on the grid.
Gangnam style's Korean anyways, we're in Japan.
Well, Toad in the chat there says there's no rain forecast. But of course, that doesn't necessarily mean there's no rain at all. What the engineers are telling the drivers is that if there is going to be rain, it's going to be too late to make the track too wet for those intermediate or maybe even wet tyres. So expecting slick running all the way through for the next 30 laps here at the Japanese Grand Prix. And Honey Badger is going to lead them all the way down towards turn 1. And of course, Japan here is normally a fan and driver favourite. It's the only figure of 8 circuit on the entire calendar that crosses over. We've seen many winners here over the past few years, but all of them have loved the circuit, and Honey Badger looking to make it 3 out of 3 on the trot as he makes his way now through this S section. And this is the section that's going to ask the most out of the tyres then. Let's have a look and see what tyres everybody's on. Well, Honey Badger there is starting on the medium tyres, Navy on softs, Lyronics on mediums. Then you've got Sean, Toad, Barry, Crazy Legs, Alan K, Maze and Yuzi all starting on a set of soft tyres. Casper in 11th on the medium tyres. Graham Maximus Siege on the soft tyres. Frisch in 15th, he's on the medium tyres. And Henny at the back of the grid starting on those soft tyres. So one-stop standard, that's pretty much what we've come to expect these days. So it's getting back into using the soft and the mediums rather than the mediums and the hards, because they are the 2018 spec tyres, so that's exactly what they're called. So no corrections this time, but having to flip-flop between the two every Tuesday and Thursday does catch up on you, and it will catch up with me, I know it will. Tough track this as well, especially at the Casio Triangle. You've got that bump on the last corner that can really catch you out, especially on a heavy fuel and maybe even worn tyres, depending on how much you've attacked those tyres through qualifying. Overtaking zones, well, you have got the Degners there if you're brave enough, and I mean really brave enough. You have to be pretty much ahead of them if you want to take the inside line. Very tight and very narrow on the entrance. Be very careful there. The hairpin, if you make a late move down the inside, you can get up the inside and take the corner. Got to prioritise the exit though if you want to try and have a go. DRS helps you, but there's only one DRS zone. That's down towards turn 1. Side by side along there, you'll have to get the inside of the corner. Turn 1, the braking zone is much later than you think, and much later than everybody expects. So expect some dives down the inside. And of course the Casio Triangle, where we've seen Ayrton Senna and Alain Prost come together at that very corner back in 1989. Let's see though how these drivers face up to each other tonight then. It's Honey Badger on pole position with Navy in second, Lyronics there in third place and Sean in fourth. Campos cars running 1 and 4 with the Carlin car and the only Carlin car running in P14 at the very start of this race. We're moments away then from the Japanese Grand Prix here in TTL F2, round number 9. The crowd is ready to go. I hope you are too, as we're now ready and waiting for those 5 red lights to switch on any moment now. And let's see now those engines rev as we wait for those 5 red lights here at Suzuka. And here we are then for round number 9. It's 5 red lights. Round 9 is underway, and what are the starts like? Bit of wheel spin from every driver there, but that's a great start from Honey Badger, but it's an even better start. We've got contact in the background already. Maze is around, and we haven't even got to a corner yet. That's our BWT there, off there. That's Lyronics, who's completely missed his braking zone there and gone off at turn 1. Maze then, without a front wing, didn't even make it to the first corner before there was contact there. As we've got carnage in the background, is Barry, who's lost a couple of positions. Frisch is all the way up to 8th ninth place even, as Alan Kay now finds himself in a little bit of trouble at turn 1, and Mays is now retired from the session, and I can't see any surprise in that. He didn't even make it to the first corner before there was absolute carnage there. Not quite sure what happened. It sort of happened at the corner of my eye. However, Honey Badger is leading then as we make our way through the second Degner. Casper then is trying to go round the outside of Frischen. In fact, he was up the inside there, got the move done in towards the Degners. Let's have a look up ahead, because we've got Yuzi here wanting to make that move up the inside of Siege. Siege, by the way, is up to 6th place from 14th on the grid. What a start from the current F2 champion of Season 4. Amazing start there. There's Yuzi then trying to hold off Casper as we make our way towards the spoon curve. There, contact between them. That was never going to work, and Casper crashes hard out of the Japanese Grand Prix. No space for him on the outside of Yuzi there, and he finds himself into the wall. 2 retirements then on the very first lap. Crazy Legs and Siege been running side by side. Siege gets the move done well before 130R, and that's him up to 5th place now, driving like a champion out there. Frisch and Yuzi, meanwhile, using and abusing those track limits, especially Yuzi running very wide at 130R to try and keep that position, to try and keep battling. Frisch is going to have to try again. So at the end of the first lap, it's Honey Badger who leads, but have a look at this run from Frisch then. Right on the slipstream of Yuzi, he moves to the right hand side, heading down towards turn 1. You've got to be side by side. I said that there's still no DRS here, so they're going to be battling for pure pace alone. Up the inside, Frisch goes. Has he got the move done? Yes, he has. Frisch then moves up to 7th place then, ahead of Yuzi in the Arden car. There is Toad in the Russian time car. He's running in 4th place right now as he's looking to try and chase down Sean. Sean is up to 3rd place in the Campos car. Maximus putting some pressure on Graham as we make our way through the S section, although the car's getting a little bit away from him there. A little bit of oversteer through the middle part of that S section, which is not what you want. And he's really trying to push hard, but Maximus has lost the back end, keeps it in check just about, loses that position to Lyronix, and Siege then is around the outside at Degner 2 and gets the move done. What a move, and I'm pretty sure James had a much better view of that than we did. James, talk us through that one.
That was unreal from Siege. Round the outside, he did do one of the cars as well. I can't remember who it was last lap around. Round the outside of the same spot. Siege has done that twice now. Can he make it a 3rd time on Sean? He's up to 4th and he's gained 10 positions early on. Afri, by the way, has also gained 8 positions early on. So very good gains from them both. And of course, remember, Afri on the medium compound of tyres. But in front, Honey Badger leads the way 9/10 of a second. And back to the lap 1 carnage, I do believe it might have been Mays or another driver just losing, getting the wheel spin off the start. And that's what caused the contact early on.
This is Lyronix and Graham running side by side, and Lyronix gets the move done down the inside at 130R. Lots of moves happening up and down the field, lots of carnage too. So we've had the first part of the lap done. Oh, that's Graham there running a little bit wide on the exit of the Casio triangle. He gathers it back up though with a little bit of gravel on his tyres. Meanwhile, Toad and Siege running side by side through turn 1. Toad's trying to go round the outside, misses his braking zone though, can't quite make that move stick, and he has to stay behind right now. Meanwhile, Crazy Legs here is trying to hold off Frisch then as we make our way through the S section. And James, I haven't really let you done any talking so far. There's been that much action.
Yeah, don't worry about it. Afri right on the back of Crazy Legs are coming through the S section. Toad was trying to go around the outside of Siege at turn 1 there. Never going to work. The camber of the corner just hitting him in the braking zone as well. Getting it completely wrong. He has lost about a second there on Siege, who is trying to catch Sean. I don't think it's going to be as easy as now because Sean, Navy and Honey Badger ahead. Don't think Siege is going to get the run of the race here, but in the meantime, I think Uzi might be catching Afri in behind as well. This could develop into a 3-way battle as the yellow flag in sector 1, Alan Kay off in the S section as the yellow flags they've just receded there. But Afri's right on the back of Crazy Legs going down towards Spoon.
Yeah, well, Frisch actually does have a bit of front wing damage on the right hand side, so he's keeping up with Crazy Legs there, staying in 5th place though, not changing up to 6th. Bit of an odd one there, but running wide on the exit of Spoon, gets himself a 3-second time penalty. But he'll still be on the back of Crazy Legs then in that slipstream. Of course, no DRS down towards 130R. That used to be a thing, however, they quickly abandoned that one as the two Arden cars swap places. Lyronix moves ahead of Yuzi there, and Frisch still trying to put that pressure on Crazy Legs then as we make our way now down towards the Casio triangle. Nothing doing for him so far. He'll look to try and get a better exit. Of course, he's on those medium tyres. He's got to try and make this long stint work. And look at that there, Crazy Legs actually lost the back end over that bump we were talking about in qualifying. Here's Frisch then going to the right-hand side, down towards turn 1. And this looks like, with DRS, this looks like a pretty simple move for Frisch. And yes, he backs out of it, does Crazy Legs. And Frisch, although running wide on the exit of turn 1, gathers the car up and gets up to 6th place. Maximus, meanwhile, gets down the inside of Graham and gets that move done with a hell of a DRS into turn 1. And he gets the move and up to 10th place he goes. Barry now, meanwhile, is right behind and looking to try and take advantage of this move. But after 3 laps so far, we're on lap 4 and Honey Badger leads by 4.2 seconds. Remember, on those medium tyres. That's a mega job from Honey Badger so far.
I think the mediums are probably running at a better temperature compared to the softs at this stage in the race. The cloud cover just make it a little bit cooler out on track maybe, and I think the mediums just starting to work a bit better compared to the softs. Graham Bellwood just going out wide at Techno 1 there, and he's under pressure from old man Barry, as Barry now is going to go up the inside, surely not into the hairpin. Is he going to get him around the outside of the hairpin? Very late on the brakes, and that is, can he get the move done? He could have the traction off. Not quite, but good try from Barry. That could have been a potential world move there on S. Graham. But it's still Honey Badger leads. Nebby in second. What's up number 5? Ronix, he's up the inside of Crazy Legs. Gets him. Ronix up the 7th.
Yeah, it just looked like... well, no, it just looked like Barry there was trying a bit of an unconventional move. Almost paid off, though. Graham's not got a great exit on the exit of the spoon there. And that is Barry moving to the left-hand side now, heading towards 130. Oh, look at this, side-by-side they're running then. Match for speed. But Barry's got the inside line at 130R and takes the move, gets the move done. Track position there and the racing line. And there wasn't a whole lot Graham could do to defend that one. Great driving from Barry. He's up to 11th, but then runs wide on the exit of the Casio Triangle and loses the back end. And all that hard work has just been undone and then redone between Barry and Graham. They're battling hard here. They're both making mistakes out there. And Barry just keeps ahead of Graham through all that drama.
Yeah, unbelievable. It's still going on as well. I think Graham just catching him back into turn 1. In the meantime, though, a more prominent battle has unfolded. Siege has caught Sean right through at the end of sector 1 here. Lyronix is right on the back of Frisch as well. The two Germans are going to be going at it, but it is Sean and Siege. He's getting a lot of time. I made that as 1.7 seconds the last time I saw that. Now 0.2 of a second. Can he go from moving to the hairpin or under? Let's find out.
Find out now. Lyronix backed. Oh, sorry, Siege backs out of it. Then Lyronix, meanwhile, is trying to close in on Frisch, and again, similar thing. They're just backing off right now. But look at this. That is Frisch actually getting out of the way. That looked like that didn't look like he made a mistake there. That looked like Frisch just letting Lyronix through. But I could be wrong about that one. But Lyronix then up to 6th place.
Maybe Jeff coming in his ear possibly and saying, "Oh, the car behind's quicker." They're not teammates.
They're not teammates.
Quite strange, that one. They might be on the same party.
Could be. That could be a genuine.
Oh, Maximus is off. Just before Maximus. Spoon.
Yeah, Maximus off then, and looks like the car's okay in terms of damage, so he'll be able to carry on at the pace he was before. But of course, we didn't see what happened to him. Honey Badger setting the fastest lap of the race, 1:45.3, and at the moment, that fastest lap of the race point is going back to him. So 26 points at the moment. Yellow flags in sectors 1 and 3. Now to sector 1, and this looks like, I think this is just Alan Kay moving out of the way. Yes, it is. Yeah. He was letting back markers through there. Tough start for him and for Mays. In fact, Mays since retiring from the race with that damage. They didn't even make it to the first corner, so you can understand how he's feeling about that one. So both Alan Kay and Mays there, who had such a good run out in F1.
Oh, Honey Badger's off!
Honey Badger!
Section!
Well, that's just him dropping the back end then. And you've also got Alan Kay on the inside there, so no one could overtake. Virtual safety car deployed then. And I think that's because Alan Kay was trying to let everybody through. And I think he's been a bit too conservative. And that's the virtual safety car deployed. But it gives us a chance to catch our breath. And it gives Honey Badger a chance to recompose himself. Was leading this race, and very comfortably so. Now he's all the way down to 5th place. Now he's got to try and make these moves stick and try and get his way up the field. He's had good pace on those mediums. But having good pace on those mediums can translate poorly, especially if you get caught in that dirty air. So let's see how he gets on. Frisch is right on the back of Lyronix. He wants to get this race back underway, and he gets his wish. It is back underway. Lyronix then is closing in, and Honey Badger, meanwhile, is battling away with Weed then as we make our way now towards the spoon curve. He's got the move done then and gets back up to 4th place. So Honey Badger makes the charge, and Honey Badger trying to make those moves stick immediately. Up to 4th place he goes. Meanwhile then, Siege is trying to close in on Sean then, as we make our way towards 130R. Alan Kay has retired from the race, and Sean doesn't get a good run through 130R there, but Siege doesn't try for a move down towards that Casio triangle. Honey Badger then leading this pack of cars then, this battle of 3 for 4th place at the moment, and Siege meanwhile is really closing into the back of Sean down the main straight with that DRS wide open, and now can try and move around the outside down towards turn 1 onto the grass slightly. They might still be side by side. They are still side by side. Sean has the racing line but runs wide on the exit of turn 2. That could give Siege a lifeline here, but he sees that door closing and has to back out of it.
Yeah, that was pretty good racing. Sean did get caught on that bump. That's why you saw Siege closing in and trying to go for the move around the outside. Lyronics in the meantime right on the back of Toad, and I tell you what, we could get an overtake here. Surely not around the outside into the S section. This would be uncharacteristic. I've never seen a move complete here before. He's now going around the outside into deck the 1. Surely not from the German. Round the outside, bit of contact. Little bit of contact. It's a bit questionable. But I think just a bit short of room. Maybe they should have just given each other a little bit more space there. But Toad is round.
Well, I said Degners were maybe an overtaking opportunity, but that just shows you that it's really, really not. Yeah. Really, really difficult to make that move stick. I mean, round the outside, I don't really know how else that was going to end. But yeah, Toad gets the worst of that, the brunt of that, now down to 10th place, and with front wing damage as well. He'll be feeling slightly aggrieved with that one. Lap 7 of this race then. Maybe leads from Sean. It's Siege in 3rd place. Honey Badger still trying to make this charge work then. He's actually closing in on Siege ahead of him. Meanwhile, Siege is trying to put pressure on Honey Badger's teammate Sean. The 2 Campos cars still outscoring Carlin right now. That's what's important to them. They need to work together if they want to finish ahead of Carlin. But then again, they want to be the battle of the teammates. They want to be finishing ahead of each other. So this is going to be really, well, I have to say, it's going to be pretty dramatic. As we see now, that's the front suspension of Siege. We really don't want to see that. What we want to see are these 3 cars battling down towards turn 1. And it looks like Siege there trying to take a tighter line into turn 1. You saw 3 different lines there of 3 different drivers trying to get ahead of each other, trying to make that gap work. Toad then moves up to 9th place, down the start-finish straight, I believe that was. So he's now back up to 9th and looking to try and chase down the car ahead. The next car is Yuzi. And meanwhile then, Sean is just trying to hold on now. I wonder if there's team orders going on here.
They're trying to sandwich in Siege in the car lane. I think they're trying to make this a bit of a momentum gain for their own constructors battle, to be honest. Sean and Honey Badger looking good. I'll tell you what, Siege taking a much different line there and is gaining on Sean. Not going to see him move into the hairpin again. Sean's running pretty deep there. This could give Siege up the inside. Not quite, never going to get the traction off there. Still as you were, Sean, Siege, Honey Badger, 2nd, 3rd and 4th, and Lyronics is getting onto the back of this as well.
Yeah, Lyronics, with the battling going on, is able to catch up and obviously in clean air, without any traffic, able to close that gap that he has to Honey Badger. But we're now making our way out of Spoon Curve, down the hill then, and on towards 130R. Let's ride on board with Siege, who's got much better momentum out of Spoon Curve. He goes to the right-hand side. It's going to be side by side now as we head towards 130R. With Sean on the inside, Siege on the outside, and he has to concede that position. Got to be careful though, because Honey Badger is right behind, making a move down the inside of the first part of the Casio triangle. He's around the outside, but that is Siege there, who was off the track. Now, what happened there?
I believe there was a bit of contact. Honey Badger on the rear end of Siege just pushed him a little bit wide of his natural line, and that's why you saw him go off, and he's lost a position to Lyronics as well. Just a little bit of contact there from Honey Badger, not a push past. He was trying to get the move done.
Well, Honey Badger up to 3rd place, Lyronics up to 4th, and then Siege all the way down to 5th place. But with these 3 battling away with each other, I can't see it being long before Siege closes that gap once again and is allowed to have another go. But as you see, Honey Badger and Lyronics on those medium tyres running pretty well so far. I think they're showing the rest of the grid that the medium tyres later on this race are going to be the tyres to be on. Look at Honey Badger here, putting that pressure on Sean as we head now towards the Degners once again. And you see the 2 different lines there as Honey Badger's willing to scrub off a bit more speed on entry, whilst Sean is willing to scrub off speed through the Degners there. to try and get himself around these next couple of corners. Sean going defensive in towards the hairpin. But yeah, he gets the better traction out of the hairpin then and on towards turn 12. And there you see Siege is still trying to close in on this battle now for second place. Lap 9, Navy still leads. He leads by 3.1 seconds ahead of this battle for second place right now. Sean on the soft tyres, Honey Badger on the mediums, and they're this close together.
Understandably so. I think the mediums are working better here. But what happens here? Sean, I think, is the slower driver at this stage in the race compared to Honey Badger. Are there going to be team tactics here? Or is he going to have to do it the hard way and try and get it done? Down the inside he goes on Sean. Not quite going to commit the move down into the Casio triangle. But he gets the run off. Maybe he's into the pits, by the way. I think Honey Badger was going to come into the pits. It almost looked like he was, and now he's being overtaken by Lyronix, and it's side by side running down the straight. Lyronix on the inside line. Honey Badger going around all the way around the outside. Surely not, he commits it. Half commitment there by Honey Badger. Never going to get moved around the outside. I'll tell you what, Sean has made a mistake as well. This is going to be really interesting through the S section.
Absolutely. Well, in all that drama, we had Navy come into the pits. He's got a 5-second stop go for speeding in the pit lane. Didn't slow that car down enough. And so he's going to have that at the end of the race, considering he doesn't stop again. But this 3-car battle now for what is the lead of the race. Just to come onto it, Honey Badger did lose the back end at the final corner. That's what allowed Lyronix through, and a relatively easy move. But yeah, this 3-car battle now for the lead of the race. Siege also made his stop, as that is Lyronix right on the back of Sean then as we head towards the hairpin. Sean once again going defensive, defending the apex there so that Lyronix can't quite get the grip down. Sean getting a little bit tail happy out of the exit of the hairpin. And look at this, Lyronix with that slipstream has got the better run then. He's trying to go down the inside here. No. This is where it all went wrong for Casper last time around. He has to go round the outside of the first part of the spoon. There's contact made wheel to wheel. Still on the outside on the second part of the spoon. And Sean holds on. Wow, what great racing between these two. They've still got Honey Badger behind them and still fresh there. Side by side as they make their way towards 130. Oh, it might be 3 wide. It won't be 3 wide. But he's still going to have the move down towards the Casio triangle. He has to go round the outside though. Riding on board now with Honey Badger as they make contact there. Lyronix and Sean come together. This is Honey Badger who could go round the outside of the final corner onto the grass, and around he goes. Round he goes then onto the grass. No grip there. And Honey Badger for the second time this race spins around. And he's able to recover again, no damage. But yeah, he was on the outside there. The gap was quickly closing. And he went onto the grass, lost that grip, and around he went. So Lyronix then now in the lead of this race. But look, he's not getting any respite whatsoever because now Frisch is behind him.
This is absolute madness. This race is really absolute madness at this stage. Pretty much everyone into the pits. Navy has got ahead of Sean, by the way. Sean is just about to come out the pits. And I think Siege possibly might jump him here. He has. Siege has jumped Sean. He's into net P2.
So Siege then 5th place, and I think in the pit lane is really where you want to be right now to focus on your laps. And Navy 4th place now, 5.3 seconds ahead of Siege. That's how much that battling hurt them all there. So even with Navy's 5-second stop go, he's got to try and stay ahead now. That's a long, long time. You know, you're talking 20 laps. That's a long, long time to try and keep 5 seconds ahead of your rivals there. But if he's up to the task, he'll definitely give it a good go. He showed good pace early on, but of course that was on the soft tyres. So he's got to try and do it on the medium tyres. But we've seen other drivers, they've been making those medium tyres work right now.
Yeah, I think the tyres will have to work in his favour, to be honest. 4.9 seconds off, but Siege is beginning to gain as a result. Both on the same strategy, both on the set of medium compound of tyres. It just seems interesting to me how Siege is beginning to catch him on the same strategy, and they're pit at the same lap as well. Well, as a result of all of that battling, Frisch, right on the back of Lyronix, he's just dropped off a little bit now, 9/10 of a second. He's just picked up a 3-second time penalty there as well. But surely he might be on for podium as a result of all of that unfolded last lap. Maximus, in the meantime, right on the back of S. Graham, closest battle out on track.
Yeah, they're at the hairpin right now. Let's see who can get the better exit. Looks like it's Graham for now, but of course Maximus will have the slipstream through the right-hander and on towards Spoon Curve. Still half a second though. Let's see what the gap is like then. It is starting to come back down as of course he gets that slipstream down towards the Spoon Curve. But yeah, 12 laps in so far, and Lyronix leads then. Siege on those fresh medium tyres, 1:45.2. And that is the fastest lap of the race so far. You're watching Maximus here trying to close down on Graham right ahead of him and heading towards 130R, closing and closing quickly. Graham goes defensive into 130R. I'm not sure that's the line I would have wanted to take, but it seemed to work there. Maximus lost that back end slightly. He had to back out of that throttle and try and remain controlling the car, so he couldn't quite prioritise with Graham's compromised line. So Graham stays ahead for now with Maximus following very close behind. Maximus will have the DRS this time around and the slipstream. To me, he looks too far back. You haven't got that ERS. All you've got is the engine and the DRS then as we head towards turn 1. He's going to go for it. No, he doesn't. Graham, though, runs a little bit deep into turn 1. And you can see there, Maximus is very hesitant to go for a move because he knows the racing line then goes back over to the right-hand side where the door is going to firmly shut.
Yeah, good respect shown there actually by Maximus. Not going to try and go in for a silly move that could compromise both their races. Maximus just playing it nice and easy. I think he looks like the quicker driver out of these two as well. It's only a matter of time I think he can get past. Lyronix in the meantime has pulled away from Afri. 1.9 seconds is the start lap 13. Now 2 seconds that gap. So Afri made a mistake that last lap around. Just going to check race director.
Maximus is still quite close to the back of Graham. Exactly a lap later, Honey Badger then going fastest in the race so far. And Maximus still on the back of Graham. It's getting deja vu then as we make our way through turn 12 and on towards 13. As the sun tries to poke through the clouds. And with the sun coming out, we could see the track temperature rise and rise. Now, how's that going to play into the hands of the medium tyre runners? Will the medium tyres go out of the window? Will they start to come back in? Will they be even better than they are right now? It's only time will tell.
You've got to factor in the soft compound of tyres, I think. Second half of this race, if the sun begins to beam out here in Japan, I think the soft tyres will work a lot better in warmer conditions compared to colder conditions we're experiencing with all of this cloud cover out on track. Esprin went very wide there. Very, very wide there at 130R, and he's now under pressure from Maximus. It's a lot closer this time running down the straight. I think this is going to be job done even before turn 1.
Yep, right over to the right-hand side of the track as he makes his way now down towards turn 1. He's got the inside line. Can he keep it together? Yes, he can. So Maximus then up to 11th place with the help of DRS. Good battling between the two of them. They showed that good respect, but Maximus made it clear he was taking that line into turn 1.
Yeah, great respect shown. I think just picking up on it is... Has that Graham got a little bit of damage on his left side end plate? Just trying to pick up on that. It doesn't look like it, but he looks like he's struggling through the corners especially. Just losing a lot more time than expected.
Well, lap 14 then. Lyronix has just set the fastest lap of the race as he looks to try and extend that gap to Frisch behind him. Of course, Lyronix yet to stop, so setting a lap time like that, well, it's instantly beaten there by Honey Badger, who goes faster, 1:45.1. So it's showing you that these old medium tyres have still got the pace about them.
Yeah, Lyronix last 2 laps average lapping around 1.5 seconds quicker than Afri, who is now behind him by nearly 4 seconds. That gap was only 2 seconds. Siege, by the way, has just beaten Honey Badger's fastest lap. Lyronix!
Bit of a moment there as he came up Dunlop curve there. As we saw in TTL F1 with myself and Andy, Dunlop curve was catching so many drivers out, almost caught Lyronix out, had to back out the throttle there, so it's safe to say he won't be 1.5 seconds quicker than Frisch this lap, but at least he's still got a car that's intact. That's the main thing.
Exactly, you don't want to be making a mistake going up through Dunlop, especially because that back end can really kick out. If you get on that gravel, you're pretty much done for. You're pretty much done for. We're nearly at halfway, by the way. Lyronix still leads. Afri second, Honey Badger in third. Top 3 still yet to pit. If you're looking out for the net battle, Nevi leads, but that gap has been gradually coming down. 2.9 seconds Siege to Nevi.
Yeah, absolutely. It remains to be seen how long these medium tyres will last and how long the drivers think they'll last. I mean, we've seen drivers pit in on around about lap 11. We've got yellow flags in sector 1. That's Maximus out of the race then. Maximus is gone at the S section. So he's completely lost the car on his own. and he's gone into the wall and out of the race. So Max Musten, who was having a good battle with Graham there, now out of the Japanese Grand Prix. That brings our retirement list up to 4. We have 12 runners left in this Grand Prix.
He's got caught on the inside of the curb there, and the back end's just gone. Tried to recover it, and then he's into the wall and out the race. That looked like a probable crash at around 40, 50 mile an hour, maybe. Unfortunate for him.
Yeah, it's always the frustrating ones where you're going at low speed and the car still doesn't want to keep all 4 tyres intact. That's one of the frustrating ones. So Max Musten becomes the 4th retirement of this race. Lap 15, just under half race distance so far, and Lyronix leads in the Arden car. And as you keep saying, James, yet to stop in this race as he makes his way towards the second Degner curve. Frisch is in second there, as he makes his way now through that second Degner curve, and Honey Badger in third. He's already spun twice in this race alone, still there in third place, almost having a moment coming out of the second Degner curve onto the grass there and underneath the bridge. But it's safe to say that Honey Badger is pretty resilient as a personality. He's still out there, he still wants these points, he knows he has the pace, and there's still a chance of a podium even with those 2 spins.
If he gets a podium because of those 2 spins, then that just comes to show what a real talent he actually is here within TTG. 5 points, about 5 seconds off after he having a massive moment at the spoon on, he's under the grass. Never going to happen. He's lost right side end plate as well.
Well, that's literally the curse of the commentator. That's literally what we've just seen. And I'd just like to apologise to Honey Badger for doing that to him. Front wing damage, but we've seen that with Frisch, and he still had pretty good pace, so maybe it's worth staying out now. Let's see what he does. 3-second time penalty. I think it's starting to get to him, and he does come into the pits. So what's this going to be then? This soft tyres are going to be pretty...
Oh,
yeah, and again, another 5-second penalty. That's 8 seconds worth of penalties. And look at that crew there, very small crew, working now on the car as they all have to change the tyres and change the front wing. There's the lollipop man there who can't get involved whatsoever. And this is just costing Honey Badger valuable time. He wanted to make it 3 in a row. He's onto the soft tyres and away he goes. And you just felt there, especially into the last couple of corners, he was starting to lose his rag a little bit. He gets a pit stop here to compose himself, collect his thoughts. We've seen him twice already have a moment. We've seen him have another one. And he's bounced back from 2 of those. Let's see if he can bounce back again. Let's see where he rejoins. Well, there's Yuzi there, making his way down the start-finish straight. Let's see where Honey Badger rejoins. I think he's going to rejoin either side by side with Yuzi or just ahead of him. Let's see then down towards turn 1. And that's Yuzi actually going around the outside. Honey Badger has the inside line. I don't believe it. Spun again. Spun again at turn 2. And Honey Badger has retired from the session. And that will be his day done. So 1 Campos car down. Only 1 left in this race, and well, I think it's pretty understandable why Honey Badger's retired from this race, but pretty resilient until that moment there at turn 2.
Yeah, got to give him credit for being very resilient. Keep calm and carry on, I think was his motto, especially for the first half of that race. So unfortunate, he cannot catch a break here tonight in Japan. It is so unfortunate. He was on the right compound of tyre, and I don't know whether it was Uzi turning into him onto the inside line into turn 2, or if it was Honey Badger, maybe, I use this term very lightly indeed, maybe just being a little bit greedy, trying to go for a gap that isn't there, meant to be seen. Hopefully the stewards will sort that out.
Absolutely, and sometimes things aren't always as they seem and as they appear.
Yeah.
We've seen this plenty of times on streams, so we won't jump to conclusions. All we'll say is that exactly what we saw. Honey Badger spins around at turn 2 and retires from the Japanese Grand Prix. That means we have 11 runners left, and as resilient as Honey Badger was there, it could have been valuable points for Campos lost, even if he managed to recover to 7th or 6th place. That's still then outscoring Carling, because right now Campos are on the back foot. We're watching Barry here as Yuzi gets it all wrong in the Casio triangle, and Barry here's looking to try and make a move.
Yeah, Jeffrey's round, sorry. Jeffrey round, that is at the hairpin.
There is Barry then trying to go around the outside and makes the move stick then into turn 1. Barry now up to 7th place. And that all started from Yuzi just having a moment at the Casio triangle. And he's lost 7th place there to Barry. Lap 17 then. It is Lyronix who leads. Still yet to stop in this race. It is Frisch in 2nd. And that is Navy in third place. Siege now 1.5 seconds back from Navy as we make our way now in towards turn 12.
This is more like Navy here in Japan. 1.5 seconds off Navy, leading the way. I think I've just said Navy twice there, haven't I?
You have.
Did I?
You've done a Murrayism.
Yeah, Siege.
Schumacher's chasing down
Siege,
Schumacher.
sorry. Siege, sorry, right on the back of Navy. 1.4 seconds. This is more like the Siege that we like to see. And in fact, it's more like the Navy we like to see as well. As Toad is out of the race. Not sure what's happened there. Where the hell is that?
Well, I was just going to ride on board with Graham to see where he was, but he's 30 seconds back. He's somewhere out in Sector 2. So, no,
Hairpin?
Maybe, but I can't quite find anything right now. Let's see if we can ride on board with Lyronics and see where some yellow flags are. Oh, no, we're not seeing any right now. Well, that is...
It's not through the Deckners.
Oh, well, Toad is out
somewhere.
somewhere.
It is. Second Deckner. Second Deckner. Straight on at the second Deckner.
Let's see. Yeah, there it is. There's the car gone. So that is Toad then out of the race. And, well, this is what I was saying with Honey Badger then. That could have been, even if he got the car back around, that's another position for him. Could have been up to P9, maybe even P8. So, obviously, things get the better of you. 4 spins, 4 incidents there for Honey Badger. You can understand why it gets frustrating. But in terms of the battle between Carlin and Campos, that's not helped them one bit, especially when the Carlin car of Siege is closing in on Navy up ahead to try and outscore Campos even more.
Yeah, of course, Siege is outscoring Campos, as you say. It's only going to be a couple of points, but that couple of points could be the difference between winning the Constructors and losing the Constructors. That's how tight the margins are here in TTL F2 as we go forward. We've still got 12 more laps of this race to go, and we've still got the prospect of Lyronics and Afri possibly getting a podium. They're still yet to pit. They've been on those tyres 17 laps now. Keep on going, lads. I think they've got a hell of a chance to get a podium here.
They have, and it's not like they're falling away off the pace.
Sorry, I thought Afri was coming in there. Just looked like he was coming in, but he's not. Don't worry. Oh, Barry losing it out the back end, out the hairpin, and here's Uzi down the inside of him. Down towards Spoon.
Yeah, Uzi here going side by side here as they now head down towards the Spoon curve there. A little bit of desync actually there, and they both run wide at the Spoon curve. Who can run wider, I wonder? Uzi gets slapped with a 3-second time penalty. I think that's very harsh from the in-game stewards there. I don't really know where else he was supposed to go.
Yeah, that needs to be removed. That honestly needs to be removed. That's the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. But I think they were more looking towards going towards the Japanese Sea there than going towards trying to make the corner. Yeah, but still, battle continues, and Barry's picked up a 3-second time penalty there.
Yeah, usually going around the outside, but then gets a compromise line through there. Of course, you can't contest 3-second time penalties. 5 seconds and above you can contest, but not 3 seconds. He'll have to live with that then as we head now down towards turn 1. He's going to be on the outside, heading through turn 1, takes that line away. He might run a little bit deep into turn 2. Barry might have a chance. No, Yuzi's got the grip then. And Yuzi moves back ahead of Barry after making that mistake at the Casio Triangle about 2 laps ago. Now going through the S's, he's got to keep his focus now and stay ahead of Barry. Battle for 7th place developing really nicely here. Both of them, of course, do have the respect for each other, despite running very, very wide at the Spoon curve there. But Yuzi now moves ahead of Barry. Moving on now to the battle for 3rd place. Siege is closing in very nicely indeed, 0.7 of a second between himself and Navy right now. Of course, this will be for, well, we say net battle for the lead. It could be very close now for Lyronics. He's been able to extend the gap between himself and Frisch. Of course, Frisch has that front wing damage, so he's doing really well out there at this moment in time in 2nd place with those medium tyres. We have around 11 laps to go. And Lyronics still leads then, and still yet to pit.
Yeah, I'm just picking up on something that I saw while you were commentating on that. Barry had a bit of a moment out of Deckner 2, just lost the back end. He's lost about 1.1 seconds there on Uzi. But Siege, I think, could be next lap where he gets very close to the back of Navy. 0.4 of a second, net battle for the lead. Stay tuned, because this is going to we're going to go on a wild ride here in Japan.
Absolutely, and where better place to do it than here at Suzuka, such a legendary track. It's hosted so many great battles, and this looks like it's going to be the latest instalment in that chapter. Navy here, that is Henny running wide there to let the other cars through, to go a lap down, so getting well out of the way and onto the grass even. But yeah, Siege still trying to close in for this battle for the podium. Lyronix, meanwhile, that gap is closing down between Navy and Lyronix. It's down to around about 28 seconds right now. However, that gap could now increase if Siege and Navy battle hard.
Yeah, this is going to be a very hard battle between these two. Siege has had the majority of the pace of the last couple of laps. It's whether or not he's got the pace in those tyres to go past him and then possibly to go on to win this race. That's what we are talking about here now in TTL F2. Out of Spoon, Navy seems to get a much better run compared to Siege there, using that to his advantage. Ashley, by the way, is into the pits.
Yeah, Lyronix has just set the fastest lap of the race, 1:44. First person into 1:44s today, as Frisch gets himself a 5-second penalty. He has to change a front wing as well, so that's not going to help him at all. Meanwhile, Siege is still trying to chase down Navy, and there it goes. The bump out of the final corner really catches drivers out. It's caught me out so many times over the years, and yeah, that's the horrendous bump there. That's really does catch drivers out, but Navy still holding on there. Even with the DRS from Siege, he still can't find a way past Navy. Now, Navy does have that 5-second stop-go penalty that he has to serve, and of course, if he doesn't stop again, he'll be added on to the end of his race. But look at that, 29 seconds now between Lyronix and Navy, and that gap's getting larger now.
It is getting larger, 29.1 seconds. Lyronix trying to do what nobody thought he could do in this race and try and get the win. This could be quite something. By the way, Afreens came out well ahead of Crazy Legs. Is now on a set of soft compound of tyres. Watch out for him coming through the field. He can get shown quite easily. Whether he can get the other two remains to be seen.
10 laps to go, 9 and a bit if you're picky. Lyronix leads the way then, 29 seconds. Lyronix, of course, is the only driver now yet to make his mandatory pit stop here. The question is not if, it's when. You can't do a no-stop. That's impossible. It's against the rules. Everything you can throw the FIA guideline book at. That's the point. And speaking of which, Lyronix now comes into the pits from the lead of the race. On will go a set of soft tyres. Now, where will Lyronix rejoin? On go a new set of tyres. There's Navy and Siege now going through 130R, making their way now towards that Casio triangle. The Arden car leaves the pit box. It's very early on, the Arden box here. There you can see Navy making his way now through the Casio triangle, down the hill through the final corner, and now onto the start-finish straight. Lyronix still in the pit lane, so it looks like here Navy is going to take the lead of this race as Lyronix just about makes his way to that pit exit line. And yes, Lyronix will rejoin in third place then, but not too far behind this battle, especially with those soft tyres. Watch out for him through the closing laps here in Japan. Remember, Navy, that 5-second stop go has to be added on to the end of this race, so that could play into Lyronix's hands.
Yeah, 4 seconds separating Siege and Lyronix roughly out of the pit. I'm just going to have a run through the penalties. 5-second time penalty for Navy, as you said. Siege has got 2 warnings, no penalties as of yet, and Lyronix has got a penalty as well. You should favour the car length of Siege out of the top 3. In the meantime, Barry has just gone past Uzi down into turn 1. Nice move down the inside. Job done. He's up to 7th.
Yeah, it's a nice battle between those two. They've got plenty of respect for each other out there. And Barry gets the move done with the DRS down the inside into turn 1. Battle resumes again for that P7 place, as Uzi will want that place back. Meanwhile then, Siege still closing in on Navy ahead. 0.3 of a second is the gap. Lyronix is just taking his time to warm up these tyres. He knows right now he doesn't have to push so hard. Let's have a see here as we now run down the hill. That is Siege still trying to close in on Navy. Still not quite getting the exit he wants out of the Spoon curve. No DRS, of course, towards 130R as we now make our way in towards that flying left-hander there. You can see Siege really attacking that curve as we make our way down towards 130R here. That's Graham, who's actually an AI car right now, and it just seems like he was solid to both of those cars. Now remember, if they're in control of their car or not, regardless of that, they are still responsible for that car out on the track. So whether it's a ghost car, whether you're controlling it or not, it is your responsibility to make sure that car's in a safe place. For me, he made that more difficult than he had to be.
Yeah, completely in AI mode there was Graham. So I'm not sure what is going to happen as a result. After new fastest lap of the race, 42.6. But he's trying to put the pressure on. And in fact, that gap has reduced by 5 seconds since the last time I looked. So 3 seconds between him and Sean for 4th place out on track.
Yeah, looking to try and hold on to that 4th place. Of course, Campos wanting to score as many points as possible. They won't score as many points as they could have because, of course, Honey Badger retired after that 4th incident with the 3rd spin and 4th incident out there. But there is Navy still leading this race. He usually picks up a 3-second time penalty. He's fallen away from Barry a little bit, but we've seen that before, and he's come back to have another go at him for 7th place in this race. Heading now on board with Navy. Yellow flags in Sector 2. Now, if I'm not mistaken, that's probably a driver getting out of the way. However, it is so Henny getting out of the way of the lead lap cars. And it just seems, yeah, Navy gets a much better run through Spoon Curve. And that means Siege just can't get anywhere near him towards 130R. Then coming towards the Casio Triangle. Let's see how Siege tackles this one. Closing now with that distant toe as we make our way down towards the Casio Triangle. Once again, braking later than Navy in towards the curbs here and then in towards the final corner. Of course, Siege will have that DRS, a little bit of a loss of back end there. And you see Navy instantly trying to break the slipstream down the main straight to go right on the inside, and of course he just drifts that car over to the left hand side, and it's doing wonders right now. Navy's doing really well to hold on to this lead of the race.
Great defensive drive from Navy so far. It's been a brilliant show of will and determination to get that car possibly home into P1, but Ironics is well all over the back of them now. It's only 1.3, 1.4 seconds separating the top 3 out on track, and Navy is parking the bus seat on the inside. Surely not. Oh, I thought he was going to make the move stick. He's going to go around the outside of the deck there. I think he's got him, you know. Siege has got him. Brilliant move.
Great move there. And now Navy comes under severe pressure from Lyronics. Navy now picking up a 3-second time penalty for running wide in between the 2 Decna curves. But yes, Siege now leads here in Japan as he makes his way down towards the hairpin. Now Lyronics has got to try and dispose of Navy. It took Siege quite a while there to get past. However, Frisch and Sean have come together.
Yeah. Frisch trying to go around the outside into Decna 1, never going to work. We saw that with Honey Badger earlier on, I think. Same incident, never going to work.
Back on board with Lyronics then, as he now gets a better run through the Spoon curve. Maybe trying to get the distant toe off of Siege, and Lyronics here is getting the double toe as he heads now towards 130R. He's got to be careful with that turn, and he's on the soft tyres, and yeah, you can see he attacks that left-hand side curve. Now heading down towards the Casio Triangle with those fresher tyres and those soft tyres, he's able to brake later. You can see Navy there trying to attack the curves to try and find something else. Clips the curve on the inside there. That's going to compromise his exit as they now head down the main straight side by side with 6 laps to go here. Siege is helping Navy now with that slipstream. He now has to go around the outside. And no, Lyronics is gone. Sorry, that's Navy gone. Down into turn 1, held on around the outside with the spinning tyres at the back there. I'm not actually sure what happened because Lyronics ghosted. I think there was a bit of desync there.
That didn't look a bit of desync on my screen. It looked like Navy was trying to go up the inside. Lyronics, I think, might have just turned in from slightly, but it's inches. It was inches apart from it being a good move. And I tell you what, Lyronics could be going around the outside of Decna here. But I think Siege is just going to hold on. Wise stuff from Lyronics not to go for that.
And Siege, they're picking up a 3-second time penalty here. So it'll be interesting to see what those time penalties are like towards the end of this race. Lyronics here really piling on the pressure for Siege. Then Siege runs deep into the hairpin. That might allow him to get a better exit overall through turn 12. But it didn't quite help him that time around because Lyronics there is right on the back of him with the slipstream heading through turn 12 and then on towards the Spoon curve of 13 and 14. Remember, Lyronics can brake later. He's got more mechanical grip now with those soft tyres, going up a gear to 4th place to reduce that wheel spin through turn 14. And look how close he is now to the rear wing of Siege. Siege doing everything he can to defend, but look at Lyronics now trying to go down the inside at 130R. The inside line is tighter and Siege backs out of it. Lyronics then takes the lead of the Japanese Grand Prix. Good respect between the two of them. Siege there realised 2 into 130R doesn't go, especially at the way it was going. He backs out of it and Lyronics then takes the lead here as we head onto lap 26. 5 laps to go here in Japan.
Yeah, to quote the Spice Girls, when two become one through that corner, Liveronix has got the move done and he's through on Siege. But knowing Siege, he's going to come back and battle this as much as possible. Afri, new fastest lap of the race. After that contact, he's only 9 seconds behind. Might seem like a lot, but trust me, it isn't. Especially because he's on the soft compound of tyres compared to Navy on the mediums. Well, Liveronix now has got the run of the race, and barring penalties, both of them on the top two on the same amount of penalties. 3 seconds each for them. So Liveronix now beginning to pull away, and I think this could be his race to lose now.
It could be his race to lose, but he's got to get those soft tyres to the end. He's been doing really well on the medium tyres, so let's see if he can do the same with these soft tyres as the sun tucks back in behind the clouds once again. And yeah, it's a pretty dull day here in Japan. The sun's been trying to push through, but the clouds have prevailed. Liveronix here for Arden, of course. 4th place Austria, 4th place at Germany, a podium at Belgium. He didn't start last time out in Singapore. This could be his first race win of the season.
It could be his first race win of the season. Of course, he didn't start last time out in Singapore. Briefly saw yellow flags there, but I'm not sure what it was for. Very strange. Yeah, coming back to Liveronix though, first race win of the season, I think it's going to be the most poignant win of the season as well. I think it's about 10 days now since we lost Antoine Hubert, and I think for the Arden team, this is going to be such a poignant moment, and for Liveronix especially, he's running the French flag here tonight. This is going to be very poignant, and it will be one of the best moments I've seen so far this season in TTL F2 if an Arden comes across the line to win. And I think it's looking like that way at the minute.
Well, let's see what happens. He's really extending that gap out to Siege there. 2.4 seconds now is the gap. Well over a second a lap quicker thanks to those soft tyres. That long run on the medium tyres has worked a treat. Now he just has to keep it on that black stuff for 4 more laps. And he'll be able to take the checkered flag on his first race win of the season. Siege running in 2nd place. Considering he started in 14th place, I think you can consider that a really good drive so far. Battling away with the leaders, battling away for 3rd place as well. He's been up and down the field as well, thanks to those pit stops, but he's managed to hold on to 2nd place. Navy, meanwhile, has been a bit of a dark horse in this race. Obviously, he's got penalties that will cost him later on in this race when they cross the line, but I think Navy's had a pretty decent race so far. I think he qualified in 2nd place, now in 3rd at the moment, so not too bad from him at the moment. Really putting together some good results recently. Frisch, I think he's going to have a shout out as well. Through that first stint, that medium tyre stint, he had front wing damage for the entire run, and still he runs in 4th place right now. That's a tremendous drive from the Trident car there, and well, they'll be hoping, the Trident team, for much needed points if Frisch can get to the end of this race. Could have been a much better day for Campos, and at the start of the day it looked like it was going to be a great day for them. 1 retirement, and the only car they have left is Sean, who's currently running in 5th place at the moment, so 21 seconds back from Frisch, 4.2 seconds ahead of this man here, Crazy Legs. Now Crazy Legs in the Prima car, he's been pretty much under the radar for the entire race. He's been there though, head down, 6th place at the moment, and looking to try and take a pretty decent haul of points back for the Prima team. Barry here in 7th place. Has had some good battles out there, especially with Yuzi, that battle for 7th place. It looks like he's got his head down and built that gap towards Yuzi. The gap is now 5.6 seconds. Yeah, Barry, I think, has had a good race as well. 7th place. Yuzi, been caught up in a couple of incidents, still running in 8th place. To get that Arden car to the end will be his target right now as he makes his way now on towards the Casio Triangle. Graham has had some good battles out there. A couple of mistakes from him, but he currently runs in 9th place. He's just keeping that car now on the track, out of the walls, and he'll be able to try and claim 2 points here for the Prima team. Then there's Henny running in 10th place, the last of the point scorers so far for MP Motorsport. Again, they need some well-needed points through this season, and Henny right now is trying to deliver that 1 extra point, thanks to Navy as well, running in 3rd place, to help them try and get that late charge to try and redeem themselves for the season. But with about 2.5 laps to go, it is Liveronix who leads, Siege in 2nd, Navy in 3rd, with Frisch in 4th. The top 4 separated each by around about 4.5 seconds.
Yeah, it's been a plain old race now, to be honest, between the top 4. Notable shout-outs from me, though, go to Siege, Afri, especially with their position gains. 12 positions gained for Siege, 11 positions gained for Afri. Very, very good. And I tell you what, I think Afri is still getting closer to Navy. 4.1 seconds. Don't rule it out. I know we're just 2 laps away, but don't rule it out. If Navy makes a mistake and Afri doesn't, it's all to play for. We're full of top tyres.
Well, 3.5 seconds. We've seen Frisch set fastest lap after fastest lap. Just if you're curious, Frisch does hold the fastest lap of the race so far, 42.6. That means he will walk away with 1 extra point if it stays like that. Lyronix 42.8, 0.2 of a second. In fact, it's less than that between the 2 fastest lap points so far, with Siege and Navy 44.1 and 44.4 respectively. They're the next closest to that time, with Sean there 44.9. But of course they're running on those medium tyres, and they have been for some time now. But Lyronix here showed tremendous pace on those medium tyres. In that stint, even with 18-lap-old medium tyres, he was still setting fastest laps of the race, and that is what's helped him get that 5.7 second lead you see now towards the end of this race, with only a lap and a quarter to go.
It has been pure tactical genius from the German. Had a bit of trouble getting my words out there. There is a yellow flag in Sector 1. Oh, and I think that might be Crazy Legs that spun it. Was that at the Dunlop curve by any chance?
It was at the Dunlop curve, and old man Barry just says thank you very much, I'll take 6th place. He now moves up, and Crazy Legs moves down to 7th place. But he's still got the car on the track though, that's the important thing. Let's have a look at gaps between them. Well, actually that is Yuzi. No, it's not Yuzi in the background. It uses 6.8 seconds back. However, Lyronix here, down the main straight, has started the final lap here in Japan as he makes his way now through the first couple of turns. 6 seconds between himself and Siege right now. He's only got a 3-second time penalty, the exact same as what Siege has right now, making his way through the S section. He's got 1 podium this season so far. That was the round before Singapore. Of course, missed out on Singapore last time out. Now he's here. This, of course, will break the trend. It will buck the trend of every race Honey Badger has started. He's won the race. That will not happen today. The streak will be broken. And it looks like it's going to be broken by the man in the Arden, who is Lyronix, making his way under the bridge and towards the hairpin now for the 30th time. And again, I have to mention that medium stint, that medium tyre stint at the very start to keep pumping in those competitive lap times on such old tyres has really, really helped him today. We may have already crowned the champion this season. However, that's not going to stop Lyronix from totally and utterly enjoying this moment, making his way around the spoon curve and down the hill he goes. For the final time, he'll be approaching 130R. That aero's only got to work one more time. I think he's already weaving. There he is, down towards 130R. He knows he's done such a fantastic job. It's been a class drive from Lyronix, making his way down towards the Casio triangle. And he is going to take his first win this season. Lyronix comes across the line to win in Japan for Arden. What a win for Lyronix. He claims the first win of his season, and that is well deserved. 25 points. Siege crosses the line in 2nd place. Another great drive, starting 14th place to get back up to 2nd. Navy in 3rd, Frisch then in 4th. That is how it will stay. So Navy gets onto the podium. A great race for him. Qualified well and finished the race well, as Frisch then finishes in 4th place, coming from the bottom half of the field. Sean then coming towards the final couple of corners, and again I have to say, what a day it could have been for Campos, but they've only got 1 car to the line, and that is in 5th place. Graham finishes in 9th, a lap down, and that is Sean then finishing in 5th place. Seems to buck the trend there of having a race of his own. It's carried on to this time. Barry then finishes in 6th place, a great race for him, and he takes the 6th place there with great pride. Crazy Legs in 7th place. Could have been 6th without that mistake, but other than that, really good drive from Crazy Legs. I think he can be happy with that, and Yuzi will cross the line in 8th place. But your race winner today here in Japan for Arden, it is Lyronix, who grabs his first race win of the season. Well, they now make their way onto the podium, And a great win here for Lyronics in the Arden car. A medium run that was timed to perfection. And again, still pumping in those fastest laps of the race. It really did the trick. He battled away very early on and showed great pace with the soft tyre runners at the very start. And all that meant was that he was blindingly quick in his second stint on his set of soft tyres. A well-deserved win then for Lyronics. He takes his first race win of the season here in Japan and at the Suzuka circuit. Your official, unofficial results then. Lyronics taking his first race win of the season. Siege finishing in second and Navy rounding off the podium. Frisch in fourth place. He gets the fastest lap of the points. Fastest lap of the race. He gets the fastest lap point. Misleadingly there it says 14 points. It will actually be 13 points. It's only 1 point for the fastest lap. Sean then in 5th place. Barry finishing in 6th with Crazy Legs in 7th. Yuzi in 8th. Graham in 9th. And Jeffrey rounding out the top 10. And of course only 10 finishers here. And all of the finishers did get at least one time penalty. And that means no one wins the very coveted Andy Campbell No Penalties trophy. But there we go then, Lyronics wins his very first race here in F2. And, well, you can't fault his stint there. It was utterly flawless drive there from the Arden driver.
Absolutely brilliant. Tactical genius, if I've ever seen one, from Lyronics. Outdoing them mentally and physically out on track. Again, a poignant win here for the Arden team. Of course, 10 days ago, Antoine Hubert sadly taken away from us in a very tragic crash at Spa. All of our thoughts go to his family and his friends continuing. And I do believe it was his funeral today as well, so even more poignant for that reason. Believe it was anyways. Not 100% sure on that.
Yes, it was, and I really couldn't have put it better myself. But that wraps up here Japan and the Japanese Grand Prix. And, well, next week we head to the States and the USA at Kota for round 10 of the championship. The championship may be rounded up for the drivers, but certainly not for the teams. And Carlin here have taken a big step forward ahead of their rivals Campos for the last 2 races of the season. And I wonder, James, are you still backing the Campos horse?
I'm still backing Campos. I think if Honey Badger can put tonight's race aside and he gets into that mental mind frame of him, the will to win, he will do just that. I'm very confident Campos can still win this, even with the outscore of points. And I do believe now it is 18 points separating Carlin and Campos because of tonight's results as well.
Yeah, of course, that is the unofficial tables right now, the 18-point gap. Of course, if you want to find out the stewards' results, make sure you're following at TTL_F2 on Twitter. And whilst you're there, you can also follow me if you like. It's at KSMCGF1. And you can also follow James at B52Head. James, I'm looking forward to going stateside for the next round here of F2.
Yeah, I need to get my passport at the ready or we're going to be late for our flight, honestly.
Well, 10-gallon hats at the ready as we head to Texas next week.
Exactly.
Make sure you're there with us. Make sure you subscribe to TTTV as well. Make sure you hit the notification bell so you're notified every time TTV goes live. Well, until the States then, and until next week, we're done here for TTL F2. I hope you can join us next week, same time at around about 7:55 BST. Until then, I've been Kieran McGinley.
I've been James Head.
Take care of yourselves, and we will see you next time.